just heard one of our youngest alum performers of the evening play Brahms, and beautifully. And now it's time for youth to give way to wisdom. As the wisest or most weazened alumni performing this evening, it is my privilege to introduce you to some of the work of an even wiser alum, the much beloved Ted Geisel, class of 25. Years before scientists coined the phrase global warming, Dr. Seuss gave us the story of the Lorax, who speaks for the trees, possibly the only children's book that ever ticked off the logging industry. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swummy swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees. All my life, I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. In no time at all, I built a small shop, then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong, for just at that moment, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow, so I quickly invented my super axe hacker and whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. Until the next week, when he knocked on my new office door, he snapped, I'm the Lorax, who speaks for the trees which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. I meant no harm. I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger. So bigger I got. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance, Lorax, came back with more gripes. My poor swami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, also sloppity-slop. You're glumping the pond with a hummingbird thing, and no more can they hum, because their gills are all gummed. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. At that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening snack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, and the very last truffula tree of them all. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big, empty factory, the Lorax, and I. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place. And at that, all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with this one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. But now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water. Feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends can come back. So catch.